Welcome to the channel. My name is Kubeir. I am a CICC licensed immigration consultant. There is a lot of fraud that is happening. Talking about the fraud, 700 international students have been issued deportation orders to leave Canada, being deported from Canada. Why? Because when they submitted their study permit applications, they submitted a fake or a fraudulent offer letter from a specific college. And all these 700 applications were apparently processed by one single consultant, a so-called consultant, definitely not a consultant, a so-called agent in a city of Punjab in India. Now, the thing is that these people submitted their applications somewhere in 2018, 2019, long time back. After that, they came to Canada. They changed their colleges because obviously those acceptance letters or admission letters in that specific college were fake. So they had to then change their college to a different. They had to change the program to a different college. They were not even aware in most cases. Most of these international students were not even aware that they have been defrauded. On the contrary, they just believed the agent. And the agent said, listen, the semester is, the seats are full, or we'll put you into the next semester, we'll put you into a different college. The students believed, and then they went on to study in different colleges. They completed their studies. They applied for postgraduate work permits. They got it. They completed their work periods in Canada. Then from there on, they have gone ahead and applied for PR. Only when they applied for permanent residence have they been caught with this. And then CBSA, during their investigation, identified this specific agent. And then based on that agent, they pulled up all the different files. They identified 700 students, and then they've called all of them. Very brief investigation. They have all been issued deportation letters. This is not cool, right? I mean, I do not know who really you can point a finger and blame. Of course, definitely blame the agent, because he or she or whoever that person is knew what they were doing. They played with people's life. Now, this is 700 people. I'm sure there are many more. It's not like that the agent woke up one fine day and said, okay, let me defraud 700 people. Also, knowing the success rate of study visas, we know that not everybody gets approved. So there could have been many more people who he may have defrauded, maybe who do not get approved for their application. Some of them may have not yet been found out yet at this point of time. Because if this was 2018 and 2019, means he continued to do this. Once he found success in something like this, a fraud is not going to stop, right? They will, right? A lie doesn't die. So he would have continued. And I'm sure there are many more international students out there who may also have been defrauded, who now should start wondering and worrying whether they are one of them. So first of all, if you are one of those people who worked with this specific agent, you should definitely start getting worried. You should definitely start figuring out what you can do. Of course, for these 700 people who have been issued the deportation orders, there are certain provisions within the law what they cannot do in terms of filing a stay order for the deportation, and then filing for judicial review, filing for humanitarian and compassionate grounds. But the problem is, the minute you have committed a fraud, the minute you have provided a fake document, it becomes very difficult for anybody to give you any humanitarian and compassionate grounds or any provision for that. That's number one. Number two, the fact that you did not, as an international student, you were not even aware that you were committing fraud. The problem is you were still using an illegal agent. And that also becomes part of misrepresentation, because in your application, in most of these cases, the agent did not submit through any representative portal. So it was your own account was created and the application was submitted as if you yourself are submitting the application, which basically means when you submitted your application, you chose that you do not have a representative. Actually, you did. So now for you to go back to the judge in the federal court and say, hey, I filed my own application, but I did not know that the consultant or the agent cheated me, it's going to be very contradictory. So to be very honest, this is really put those students in a bad fix, in a bad situation. I hope, and I'm really hoping that they do find a legal way out of it. It's going to cost them a lot of money because lawyers are not cheap. But collectively, this is looking very difficult. But my grievance is not with forget the agent. I mean, the agent did what he had to do. I'm not sure what's going to happen to him, and whoever can do whatever to him. Let's address the elephant in the room. IRCC You present a document to them. They conduct a verification. They conduct a background check. They are refusing applications left, right, and center for all kinds of ridiculous reasons. Whatever happened to them checking whether the basis on which the application is being made, that is the acceptance letter, the offer letter of the college by itself, is that genuine or not? Why is nobody calling out IRCC? Why is nobody asking IRCC the question? You were the ones who approved the application. Okay, let's say we made a mistake. Let's say we were cheated. We provided you the fake. Why were they not rather refused on the first step when the application was made? Why were they allowed to come to Canada? Why were they allowed to study in Canada? Why were they allowed to work in Canada? And then at this stage, when the PR application is being submitted, that's when they're getting caught. How? Why? So now 5 years of their life has been effectively wasted because now with all this rigmarole, they will have to be under tremendous stress. They would be under tremendous problems. They would have to obviously shell out so much more money trying to fight these cases and figuring out what to do. So many of them will obviously get fed up, frustrated, depressed. What about their mental health? What about their families? You know, how tormented their families are going to be. If they are married, their children. Effectively, IRCC's failure has now disrupted the lives of 700 families altogether. I mean, so before we start blaming the agent, before we start blaming the students and of whatever the students didn't do, what they should have done, shouldn't have done, of course, we can talk about it, right? But what about IRCC's failure? Why didn't they pick this issue right at the beginning of the application and stamp it down? But here we are, everybody, all the headlines, all the news articles, 700 Indians being deported, 700 students being deported. Hey, students are bad. Hey, students commit fraud. Hey, the agent is... In most cases, the student didn't even know they were committing a fraud. They were actually victims. In some cases, they didn't even know until they were called by CBSA to come to their office. And that's when they were questioned that you have committed a fraud. They didn't even know that. So when you read these kind of stories, always don't take them at the face value. Just try to think deeper. I mean, of course, the agent, he's missing in action after having committed such a big fraud. In most cases, after paying off the local people of any value, he will probably get away with this in most cases. But I feel for the 700 families because it's not fair to them. And a huge failure is actually from IRCC side when they did not verify and validate the study permit applications in terms of the job, the acceptance letter itself. So yeah, that's something where I feel this has completely failed. Yeah, don't like it, but it's how the life goes on. I shall see you next time. Until then, take care and be good.